Well, welcome back to the channel, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. And thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you haven't done so yet, please do so. It helps the channel to grow and the ministry to expand and, raises the algorithm so the videos will become more visible to people that may be in need of this information. So thank you so much. And if you're listening for the first time, welcome. This is the Christian perspective on narcissism in the world today. And hopefully you got a chance to watch the prior videos that I put out where the discussion was on, again, these demonic narcopaths, these malignant narcissists that border on psychopathy, these very severe evil entities walking the earth today, and why we feel that these types are demonically gripped by the adversary. Basically, it's premeditated evil each and every time. It's well thought out plan. They create plots, plans, schemes against people, and that's the adversary. He plots, plans, schemes, right? And he steals, kills, and destroys. Also, they're usually not that self-aware. They think there's nothing wrong with them. They blend into society like pillars of the community and leaders of companies and in high positions many times. They're very high functioning. Many of them are highly intelligent, highly degreed. They're very successful at their jobs many times because they have no guilt. They have no empathy. They can climb the corporate ladder very well and not blink an eye. They can take somebody to court and win a lot of money and not really care if they destroy the person. That's how they are. If you don't have any remorse or guilt, and you really don't care about hurting people, you don't have any empathy or compassion for what you're putting them through or what you do to them, then you can step on a lot of toes. You can climb very high in your career. They make very good salespeople because look at the spiel they gave you guys, right? I mean, they probably fed you a big sales speech when they were love bombing you, right? They're very convincing, so they do well in, high-end sales, real estate, anything like that. Wheeling and dealing. It's very much in their nature. Any position where they can make a lot of money at once, obviously, they're very impatient. They get very bored, so they kind of like spontaneous types of things that give them instant gratification. Jobs that give them instant gratification is what they like. Something with a high commission job, millions of dollars over the phone, whatever it is. Wheeling and dealing, even Ponzi scheming, is probably, part of their resume, So we have to be wary of the adversary's tactics. He's pulling all stops today in these last days. And as I said, these last days could be one day or they could be 1,000 or 5,000. We don't really know. They could be 5,000 years. Only God knows the day and the hour that he's to return. But we have to, be vigilant and know the tactics of the adversary, know that he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And he's got his representatives here on earth. Now, the problem is these types are increasing in number. And you guys know it, and I know it. Because look at all the people globally on this channel alone. And there's a lot of YouTube narcissist channels. You know it and I know it. A lot of them are not Christian-based, though. So I really appreciate you guys, checking in here and being loyal viewers because I was looking for the Christian perspective on it because I knew this was spiritual warfare, and I know a lot of you do too. Well, also, from a Christian point of view, you have to ask yourself why in the Our Father, Jesus told the apostles to pray, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. It says, but deliver us from evil. So the Lord knew that there was evil on this planet and that we were in need of prayer to be delivered from it and to pray for deliverance from it. So he asks us to pray for deliverance there and also in Mark chapter 5. there was a man who was cutting himself with rocks, who by today's standards, the man would be deemed as crazy or insane. He'd probably have a straitjacket on him in a rubber room in a mental asylum, because this man in the Bible could not be restrained. He was acting crazy. He couldn't be in society. Nobody wanted anything to do with him. And he was cutting himself with rocks when, he, I guess, went up to the Lord. And, the Lord asked the man his name. And the man said, "My name is Legion, for we are many," which meant that there were a lot of demonic spirits in this man, making him cut himself, act crazy, do all the things he was doing. It wasn't him. It was the demons that he hosted inside of him. And so the Lord cast out the impure spirit, and it says in the Bible that that Jesus looked at the man and said, "Come out, you impure spirit." And he didn't say, "Be well and be over this illness." He said, "Come out of him, you impure spirits." And the spirits left the man and went into a bunch of pigs nearby. The Lord cast him into the pigs. And the pigs went insane at that point, acting crazy, and they all threw themselves in the river and drowned. So that's what demons do. If you're hosting a demon, it's going to make you act totally different. And it needs to, be cast out. They're not going to really go away on their own. You really need deliverance or deliverance service if that's the case. But they can impact somebody's behavior drastically. And Mark chapter 5, shows that clearly, and that it's not labeled as a disorder or an illness. Now, this is kind of different, too, in the Bible. There's a fine line between, medical problems, legitimate medical problems with somebody or ailments, and demonic possession. Now, the Lord was clear in Mark chapter 5 as to what he was dealing with. But with the woman with the issue of blood who touched the hem of his garment and was healed, in that chapter, the woman with the issue of blood was said to have been healed of her infirmity, or her ailment. So that was clearly defined as a medical issue that the woman suffered with for years, So it's kind of unclear. There's a fine line there. Many things in the Bible were seen as demonic possession or oppression. But then again, you have the cases where, somebody, if they were suffering with a physical ailment, it was dealt with as a medical ailment in the Bible. But I do think the adversary wants our mind first and foremost. So I believe that's what he's going to go after, many times. Yes, he can cause physical infirmities as well, and physical ailments and torments as well. But the brain, the mind, controls people's actions. And if he can get your thoughts, if he can change your thoughts, and your brain has to do with depression, and all those things. So if the adversary wants to depress you, oppress you, and make you immobilized, paralyzed, and most of all, make you lose your joy, okay, that's what he does. He makes you lose your joy. He's going to go after your mind, That's pretty much what the adversary goes after, everybody. So, the question is, can these malignant narcopaths be redeemed? Can they get deliverance? Well, perhaps because the Lord can deliver anybody he wants to. Perhaps if these guys are truly fallen angels on earth, maybe they're not redeemable. It's up to God. We don't really know. But in my opinion, these types, to be delivered and be free, and be free and turn from their ways, they would have to really be repentant. They would have to renounce their past behavior. They really have to be broken before the Lord and want to change. And they would have to turn their life over to Jesus Christ at that point, repenting, renouncing everything they did, never to do it again, to walk with God from that point on. Now, are they going to do that? Well, that's a different story, because the severe malignant narcopath is not self-reflective. They don't think they have a problem. They really don't think they're in need of help, and they just keep going on doing what they're doing because they don't have any remorse or guilt. So if you can't take responsibility for your actions, and if you can't turn your life over to the Lord and really be broken and see your failure, see your actions, and want to change, I don't know. Most of the times you really have to be broken before the Lord and know that you need to change and renounce your actions and the person that you were in order to be born again and have a new life with the Lord. So, unless they do that, chances are probably, deliverance is probably not going to happen with that person. So anyway, I hope this was helpful, everybody. If you have an opinion on this, please leave it in the comments below. I'm interested in hearing. And if you have witnessed any demonic manifestations in a malignant or severe narcissist, please put it in the comments below. It's always interesting to hear. And thank you so much for the support of each other on the channel. I think it's helpful to be encouraging and supportive and validate each other's experience, and especially pray for each other. And just know that I pray for each and every one of you. If you have a prayer request, put it in the comments below, and I would be happy to pray for you, as I do every night for all of you. So also, if you want one-on-one Christian guidance, please email me at AngelHavenMinistry@gmail.com, and I will email you back with information on that. So once again, everybody, God bless, and I will be back with more, and take care.